They were hiking in the woods when they saw it in the water. What happened next was amazing. Hiking through Australia's Mount Glorious National Park was bound to give this trio of ramblers some excellent photo opportunities. On this particular trip, however, they got much more than they bargained for, and it turns into a seriously heartwarming story. On July 24, 2016, social media user Jessica Patton, also known as Danger Mouse, shared her family's story of the previous day's hike in the aforementioned Queensland National Forest. But for once, it wasn't selfies of her husband Luke McMillan, or her father Graham that brought the incredible tale international fame. No, this tale is one of adventure and human ingenuity. How did it start? My husband and I took my dad to see some rock pools in a fairly secluded section of Mount Glorious National Park. As we walked along the creek bed, we noticed a disturbance in one of the deep pools ahead, Patton wrote on Imgur. Naturally, the trio kept quiet so as not to scare away whatever was splashing around in the pool. Patton also got her camera ready, convinced that they were about to see some of Australia's signature wildlife. Could it be a platypus, or maybe even a kangaroo? In fact, it was the last thing that they expected to see struggling in the water. A Staffordshire Bull Terrier. The sorrowful look on the dog's face hit Patton right in the feels. It was honestly the saddest sight, she wrote. In truth, the canine was exhausted from its difficult swim in the ice-cold creek and looked in trouble. The group decided then to do their best to help. We approached cautiously, not knowing whether this was a domesticated or wild dog, Patton wrote. We erred on the side of caution and armed ourselves with a BFS, big effing stick, just in case it wanted to defend itself when we pulled it out of the water. As all good hikers should, this group had prepared well for their outing in the woods. In fact, they'd brought a rope, and they now used this to create a makeshift harness. That done, they looped it around the dog's body and, after some toil, managed to drag the poor pooch back to solid ground. The staffy was saved, but it was still looking a little, rough. The dog wasn't aggressive at all, and in fact very timidly lumbered away from us, up the bank and into the thick latana beside the pool, Patton recounted. As it turned away from us, we saw that she was a desexed female. At some stage, she must have been domesticated. So, following the retreating dog's podgy little rump, they tracked her down to a den that she'd dug out in the bank. She was still apprehensive, but not aggressive. I gave her a scratch on the head, and she rewarded me with a lick on the hand, Patton wrote. Despite obviously having been camped there for at least a few days, we noted that our little companion wasn't exactly lacking in mass, leading us to dub her Miss Piggy, Patton said. The trio also began considering options as to how to get the lost pooch off Mount Glorious. The rescuers' first attempt was, then, to use the rope harness to try and coax or carry Miss Piggy away from the bank of the pool. But the chubby little cutie wasn't a keen hiker, and as Miss Piggy weighed about 80 pounds, even taking turns carrying her would be awkward on the trails. Miss Piggy also had her own ideas. Indeed, she managed to wiggle out of her harness during the trek and made a break for freedom. She was still exhausted from the swim, however, and she didn't get far. Miss Piggy was understandably frightened and worn out, so we sat a bit longer trying to give her some time to calm down, with lots of pats and reassurance, Patton described. The little sweetie showed her appreciation of our patience by wriggling over to me and resting her head on my leg. It was no wonder that Miss Piggy had become trapped on Mount Glorious, though. After all, even with the 3 humans helping the pooch, they were still struggling to get her out of the gully, and they were quickly running out of options. But just when things were looking difficult, McMillan had an idea. My husband remembered that we had a large canvas bag in our car, 15 minutes walk up the creek. We figured that if we could get her into the bag, we could MacGyver together some apparatus to transport her out, Patton reported. The boys scavenged a strong branch and threaded it through the canvas bag's handles, lifting Miss Piggy and her bag up above the lantana and vines, Patton explained. But even with this handy hammock, the journey wasn't easy. The boys put in a mammoth effort, including the 10-foot vertical climb to the road, she continued. Patton also said that Miss Piggy looked ecstatic to be out of the bush. During the trip home, she seemed to relax a lot more. When we opened the back of the car, we were greeted with a different dog. The little tail was going a mile a minute, she wrote. So rescuers took Miss Piggy home and fed her, and then they started the search for her real owners. Fortunately, social media once again proved very useful for reuniting a lost pet with its human. Indeed, it only took about 30 minutes for them to track down her real owner, who lived 9 miles from Mount Glorious. We had stoked until he referred to the dog as Bob, and our hearts sank thinking he had lost a male dog, Patton said. However, he confirmed that Ellie Bobby, nicknamed after Ricky Bobby, was indeed his little girl, with various physical characteristics to prove it. Ellie Bobby had been missing since June 30th, 2016, which was almost a whole month. Understandably, the distraught dog owner had launched a huge social media campaign to try to find his missing pooch, and he was ever grateful to Patton's family for finding her. We were just happy to have been in the right place at the right time to be able to help her, Patton concluded. Happily, Bob is back in her owner's arms. What's more, she likely won't be going on walkabouts anytime soon. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends below.
Please do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell to receive everything that is new.